So, I planned a crazy, crazy day. I only have 2 half days or 2 3/4 days in Tahiti, on the main island of Tahiti, and I wanted to maximize my time. So I booked a later in the day flight to my next island for Sunday, intending to spend Sunday morning and afternoon exploring and kind of getting to see what Tahiti had to offer. So my plan was to get up really early, go get breakfast at the Intercontinental on Tahiti in Papeete. I can pronounce it now. And then I was going to go on a half-day tour, and then I was going to go snorkeling in the ocean, and then I would jump on my 6:30 p.m. flight to Huahine. And I pulled it off. I can't believe I did it. So let me tell you about that. They finally let me out to explore. We got into Papeete really at 9:30 at night, and took a little while to get through customs, made some friends in the check-in line. My Airbnb host picked me up, drove me back to the Airbnb. Everyone online had told me that you're going to be awake early, and sure enough, I was up at about 4:30. Not because of the roosters crowing next door, but because it was 7:30 back home. And so I got up, packed all my bags up. My Airbnb host was generously gave me a ride down to the Intercontinental. I had to drag all my luggage down the elevator to the restaurant, which is this gorgeous open air restaurant. It's got the full buffet spread. They have an entire long table of eggs and omelets to order, and bacon and sausage, and then there's a big bowl of rice and whole chicken thighs, and there's a whole dish of poisson cuit, which is, I think that's how you say it. All I know is it's raw fish in a salad, and I didn't try it. And then they've got a whole table just salads, all kinds of salads that you can possibly imagine. And then there was a whole table of just cheese and like sliced meats, and there was a whole table of just like baguette breads and these really delicious coconut flour dinner rolls. And then behind it was another whole table of just pastries. And when you hear the phrase melt in your mouth, delicious, these little apple turnovers melted in my mouth, and I was like, I haven't had pastry do this in a long time. It was so good. And then it was all open air, so you were looking right out at the pool, and right behind the pool is the ocean, and on the other side of the ocean is Moorea, the neighboring island. Beautiful, stunning view. I ate, and then I went back up to the front. I went to the restaurant people and said, the front desk said that you could hold my bags, and the restaurant people said, no, go to the front desk and ask them. So I went back to the front desk, and the front desk person went and checked with his manager, and he said, okay, so we can hold your bags, but you have to fill out this form. That's fine. And my tour person drove up. It was Tracy with Unique Tahiti Tours, and she is fantastic. It was just a half-day, 4-hour tour that we did with her, and we just covered the west side of the island. We got to stop and see some churches. We got to see the gorgeous water gardens on the south side of the island. We got to kind of spontaneously attend an arts and crafts fair and take some pictures with some of the locals, which is pretty fun. They're all really friendly people. And then she dropped me back at not at my hotel, at the Intercontinental, and I kind of just hung out there for a little while. I was still feeling kind of crummy because I was dehydrated. If I'm dehydrated, do I really want to go out on a boat in the middle of the ocean? I just didn't know. I was like, maybe this isn't a good idea. Maybe I'm trying to do too much. I don't know. And then I just said, what the heck, go for it. Went in Tahiti. If you don't do it, you're going to regret it. So I grabbed my swimsuit out of my bag, got a taxi to come and pick me up. His name was Bob. He drove me down to the pier. I had asked the taxi driver if he could arrange to be back to pick me up in an hour and a half. And he said that was fine. He could arrange that. It turned out that Captain Benoit had actually given his number to the taxi driver so that he could call the taxi driver when we were done. It turned out to be a good thing because my phone died on the boat. So we take this little boat. It's just me and Captain Benoit and my snorkel gear. And we're out in the middle of the ocean. And he's like, "How good of a swimmer are you?" And I was like, "Well, I swim. I'm not the best, but I do know how to swim." And he's like, "Okay, well, I'm going to give you..." He gave me a life vest, and he gave me a pool noodle. He gave me a pool noodle to kind of lean on, and helped me put my mask on, he gave me bigger ocean-worthy flippers, and he gets me on the edge of the boat, and he's like, "Now just tip over into the water." And so I tipped over and belly flopped into the water. Kind of just went, and I went under, and then I came back up, and I was just like kind of dog paddling in the water going, "Did I do it right?" And he goes, "Yeah, you're good." That was good. And he says, "Okay, we're going to do a test run with you and the flippers and the snorkel. Swim to the end of the boat." And I made it about halfway to the end of the boat. And next thing I know, he's in the water, and he's just holding the rope out to me. He's like, "Grab this. Like, you're coming with me." He is a very strong man and a very strong swimmer, apparently, because he's literally dragging me through the water. I did put in a valiant effort, and I did keep up with him pretty well. He only had to pull me along a few times. So we're swimming through the ocean, and there are all these waves and craziness that aren't... I've practiced in my pool, but it did not prepare me to literally jump into the ocean with a snorkel and a rope and a pool floaty. I was a little bit terrified, but here I was, and we were just kind of swimming along, and then he points, and there's this big old turtle. And it's lower down, so it looks smaller, but it's this big old turtle, and it's got this colorful shell. It was the prettiest thing ever, and it's just slowly gliding through the water. And that's when I realized that I had left my underwater camera on the boat. Luckily, he's taking pictures that he's going to email to me, because that's part of his tour package. He's pretty generous like that. We saw, I think, 4 turtles, 5 if you count the one that was sleeping. One of them turned around and kind of gave us a little, like, had his little flippers tucked in under his chin like this. He was being funny. And then at one point he points, and I'm like, "There's no turtle, but there's like 5 stingrays just kind of gliding together like a flock of geese, but underwater. Like 5 of them. And they're, fairly, they looked smaller because I think they were farther down, but he just like freaked out. I was like, "Stay here," and he swam down and took pictures of them and everything. He's like, "I've never seen that many of them in one group." He was very excited. We got really close to the reef at one point. He said, "Okay, we're going to be about 3 feet above the reef, and whatever you do not touch it, because if you touch the reef, then it dies. And we don't want that." We got so close to it, you could see everything moving, you could hear, I swear, it sounds like a bowl of Rice Krispies. It sounds like snap, crackle, popping. And it's just the reef. And the turtles were in the reef. And the fish were in the reef. It was so cool. There were so many fish. I wish I had my camera. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. So we get back to the boat. I get back on the boat. And we go back into the port. And I found out my phone's dead, so I couldn't check the time, which is fine. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make it. Everything's going to be fine. I'm not worried. I'm in Tahiti. I am relaxing. And we get back to the dock, and that's when Captain Benoit tells me, "Oh, yeah, I even gave you an extra 20 minutes. Complimentary. I'm not going to charge you for the extra 20 minutes. It was a really spectacular, awesome experience. And then for him to go above and beyond and give me those 20 extra minutes in the water was really generous of him. And, not charging me for it was pretty generous. But at the same time, now I'm 20 minutes late. That's 20 minutes that I don't have to go get my bags. The taxi driver's waiting for us, and my phone's dead, so he can't call me. So he calls Captain Benoit. Says, "Okay, I'm sitting here," and I jump in the car, And he said, okay, so we're going back to the Intercontinental. And I said, we're going to the Intercontinental. I'm grabbing my bags, and then we're heading to the airport. And he goes, oh, what flight are you? What time is your flight? And I told him it was 6:30. And he just goes, aye. Like, yeah, no, I feel it too. Believe me, I'm aware of how close we're cutting it tonight. And so I ran back to the Intercontinental, still literally just dripping wet in my swimsuit, handed my claim ticket, get my bags, throw the bags in the car, go down to the airport, quickly got me out of the car and said, there you go, over there, okay, bye. The check-in ladies informed me that my bag that I want to check is too heavy. And I opened it to take out something. I didn't even know what I was doing, but I opened it to take something out. And they saw my computer and said, oh, you can't check your electronic devices. You have to take your electronic device on the plane. So leave that in your carry-on. I'm like, but I'm trying to check this bag. There's no way. I'm like, I'm trying to check this bag. It's too big. And like, okay, well, you have to carry your laptop on the plane. So check my 2 bags, carry my laptop and my shoulder bag and a few other things on the plane with me. I get through security. And then I realized that I still don't have any Tahitian currency. I found someone and I was like, where do I need to go to exchange USD for French Polynesian francs? And they said, oh, you have to go back through security to the other side of the airport to the currency exchange. So I run back through security with all my stuff and find the ticket agent. I go, direct me to the currency exchange. She goes, oh, it's closed, but there's an ATM. So I run over to the ATM and I withdraw some money. I run back through security, and I swear the security agent just like, she looks up at me and she goes, huh? She'd just seen me in there. I was again. And it's like, hi, me again. Even with all of that, I was still on time to get on my plane and fly to Huahine. And I got in on time. Tiny little airport. There's like, there's an arrivals and a departures lane. You're either going in or you're coming out. And the baggage claim is literally a bunch of like shelves, and they just kind of toss your bags onto these little wire rack shelf things. And you pick it up off that. I have neighbors. They're speaking French. So now here I am in Huahine. My Airbnb host, Moe, and his wife Marty generously took me into town and I got some chow mein at a food truck. That was my absolutely crazy day that I had, and I just wanted to say that my day was crazy, my plan was crazy, and I pulled it off.